Okay, so here we're on page 156, and we're going to work with pyramids and surface area of a pyramid. Okay, so first of all, do you guys remember surface area? What is surface area? Area of the surface, exactly. So you got to look at all the two-dimensional faces. So on a pyramid, what type of shapes are there?
Square and a bunch of triangles.
Bunch of triangles and a square. Good. How many triangles are there? Are they all the same?
Yes.
How do you know they're all the same?
They all have the same diagonal length of 9 and base.
Yeah. It's because the shape on the bottom is a square. Okay, so all four of those triangles are the same, and there's one square. Okay? Do you know how to find out the area of a square? Length times width. So 24 times 24 is 576, right? I think that's right. Is that right? For some reason I have that one memorized. I don't know why. Is it right? Oh, I don't know why that one's memorized in my head. Okay, so there's the square. Okay, now, once you have that, you're like, okay, boom, I'm done. Now, how do I get the area of a triangle? And then I'll just times by 4. So what's the area of a triangle? Base times height. Then what? Divide by 2, and then we're going to take that answer and times it by 4, because there's 4 triangles. Do we have the proper height? No. So take a look at what they gave us. What did they give us? They gave us 9. Can you highlight the 9 with a different color? And this is the tricky part. Look at this. Right angle. What's the distance on the bottom of that right angle?
12 because
Good. 12 because it's half of the 24. 24 would go the whole way across. Remember the apex down halfway. So that's 12. So what we need to do is solve for this thing in red. We have to solve for that. We have to solve for that. It's called the hypotenuse. Really, Mustafa? Mustafa, right here, buddy. That's where I want you, right by me. Okay, so do you guys know how to work with the Pythagorean theorem? Okay, so c squared equals a squared plus a b squared. What do a and b represent? The short sides or the long sides? The short sides. So 9 and 12 are the legs, I call them, and c is the hypotenuse. So I'm actually going to change color on that so everybody's clear. So a and b are blue. Okay, and we're trying to find out c. Nice. So 12 squared and 9 squared, 144 and 81. What's that number? 144 and 81? 225. And then what do you always do at the end of Pythagorean theorem? Square root it. Do you remember that kind of stuff? This is done in junior high. It's done in 10-3, so you guys should know this. Square root both sides, and you get 15. So 15 is the length of the hypotenuse. That length of the hypotenuse is the height of the triangle's face. Do you remember that? The height. Look, if you look at the hypotenuse, I just drew the line in black there. That's the height of the triangle's face. So 15. Okay, it goes right there. Now we do the base times height divided by 2. The base is 24. The height is 15. We divide that by 2. Then once we get that answer, we will times by 4. 24 times 15 divided by 2 times 4 is 720. 720 and 576 we will add up to get 1,296 square centimeters. That's on the test, that question. So showing up to class is a good thing. This exact question is on the test, written response. Okay? Word for word, just different numbers. All right. Any questions on that? Let's make a little note for ourselves, okay? The pyramid's height is used for volume, not surface area. Therefore, so we will find the slant. How to find the slant? Pythagorean theorem. Once you have the height, the slant height that is, then you can jump into the area calculation. And on my test, it'll be very structured like that. It'll say, part A, find the slant height. Part B, solve for the surface area of the pyramid. Come to class, you work, you get paid. Sound good? You get paid with a mark. No, the mark. You get paid with the mark. The knowledge, sort of secondary. It's all about... You need a mark to tell the world that you're responsible enough to finish high school. And if you're responsible enough to finish high school, you're probably responsible enough to show up to a job. It's society's way of telling the world that you're ready to work. School's just one big test. That's all it is. A piece of paper you get at the end, and you give to the world, say, hey, look, I'm ready to work. Hire me. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Well, that doesn't, it's not true for all people, but for the majority of people, that's the life, right? Some people become famous artists and have a different lifestyle. Most people, though, 9 to 5, and that's kind of the thing. Sure. All right, so we'll just let a few people copy this down, and then we'll move on. All right, guys, can you quiet down, please? Flip the page over twice. We're on question 10. Which tab? Just right there. Okay. This next question, can you just put in the word slant next to the word height because this book isn't being specific enough? So just add the word slant there. Everybody see that? Okay. So this is, and this formula is not on your yellow sheet, so you may want to add it, okay? Surface area of a square pyramid is equal to side squared plus 4, and you guys are going to like this one, BS divided by 2. So what does the B stand for and what does the S stand for? Base and slant. Good. Not the other one. SB? Because we always say base times height divided by 2. That's what we always say. What would SB stand for? Son of a gun? Okay, so 12 squared, that's going to get you the square on the bottom, plus the 4 triangles, which would be 12 times 8 divided by 2. So basically the square would be 144 plus plus 192 from that. And this one's 336 centimeters square. Okay, so you may want to add that to your yellow sheet, right? Because on the yellow sheet, it only has if it's a rectangular base, and it screws kids up all the time. Yeah. Oh, the square pyramid is on there, actually. It just says area of the base plus 4 times the area of the side. So it is on there. But you got to figure that out.
I don't understand how you're supposed to figure that
Oh,
out.
you have to use this vertical height, not the slant
I
height.
know, but you don't know how long that distance
Oh,
is.
it's just base times vertical height divided
No,
by
but
2.
you don't know that little thing
That's
right
not
there.
important. That's not important.
Yeah, well, it is if you want to figure that out, because you said I have to figure out this first.
No, it's just the base, that length, times this height. You don't need that, actually. All right. All right, next one. Here's this thing called a triangular pyramid. Triangular pyramid. So this is weird. Nathan, you okay? What is that? Okay. Okay, so this triangular pyramid has all equilateral triangles. You guys know what equilateral is? All the sides are the same. It says each side length is 16. What is the surface area of the pyramid? So what kind of formula would you use for this one? Is it on your formula sheet? This one's not on your formula sheet. So now you gotta think. So what is surface area, guys? Surface area is just a sum, added them all up, sum of all 2D faces. Okay, so what 2D faces are involved here? Just triangles, right? So what's the surface area formula going to be? For area of the triangle. Once you figure out the area of the triangle, all you got to do is times it by 4. Okay, so what's the area of the triangle? It's going to be base times slant divided by 2. So 4 times, what's the base of the triangle? 16. What's the slant? Uh-oh.
Is that an A or a triangle? It's like an
Where's an A? This is a capital A, 4 times the area of a triangle. So what's the one thing we don't know? The slant. You don't know that. So how are we going to find that? Pythagorean theorem. Once we do the Pythagorean theorem, we can put it in that bracket. Okay, so this is the hard part. Where is the right-angled triangle in this picture that you're going to use? Where? Do you see it? See that dashed line? That's the height of the triangle. That's what we need. That's the height. Do you agree that that's the height of the triangle? Why do you know it's the height? Because it's what to the base? Starts with a P. Perpendicular. Who said that? All right. You use the proper terminology. I get excited. Say what? Oh. I don't know. Maybe, Noelle, you probably know this. What's this distance here? On the bottom. What's that distance there? Half of 16. Very good. And we know that the hypotenuse of this right-angled triangle would be what? 16, because it's the equilateral. So you need to solve for the height there. Is it a long side or a short side on the Pythagorean theorem? Short. So this one's a little bit different. So when you go to do this formula, what do I put in for C? The long side, which is always across from the 90. So this is 16. And then A and B are the two legs, the short side. So let's call A the H and B the 8. So 16 squared is 256. H squared is, or 8 squared, 64. How do I solve for this thing? What do I got to do with that 64? Is it first, before you square root it, got to get that 64 out of the way. Do you guys remember that? So that's 192. And now you can square root. $13.85 or something. So just take a couple decimals for accuracy. And now we can put that 13.85 right there. 13.85. Got it? Alright, so take that height, times it by the base 16, divide it by 2, and then times by 4. I got like 443.4 centimeters square. Don't you guys just love this crap?
Yes.
This stuff is kind of weak. I don't really like it. You want to go home? I'm sorry, you can't go home. You're legally bound to be here with me. Okay, see ya. Sir. Oh, do you want to go get a drink of water? Zoom out.
No, are you kidding? I'm not that. If he's gonna leave it, tell him to leave it.
Aren't you on a strict agreement?
I'm on a strict agreement, yes, but that's the doctor's order. But he's gonna give
If you get headaches? Yeah, you should get some water if you need it.
flying me to the face on Saturday while I was on a wall.
Hmm?
Why did I get 0.2 and got 0.1?
Oh, because you rounded in between. I used all the decimals, not just 8.5. I can zoom in pretty far. You should see this. There it is. Is that what you need? Oh, he wants that. Copy it down. Only the H? Not as far as it goes. Yeah. 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 Are you playing? Not a girl. Because I don't want to deal with the boys. A rat. I'm so excited that you're so excited to do this question. Okay, surface area of the sides of a square base pyramid is 680. And the side length of the square is 16. What is the height of the pyramid? This is a very, very hard question. Okay? It says the surface area of the sides is 680 square centimeters. So just the sides would be 4 triangles. Would you agree with that? Okay, so the area of the 4 triangles is 680. Okay. So the 4 triangles, guys. 4 triangles, base times slant divided by 2 equals 680. Stay with me. What's 4 divided by 2? 2. Stay with me. What if we divide the 2 onto both sides? And do we know the base? The base is 16. So 16s equals 340, so get rid of that 16. So now what we've done is we've solved for the slant. So 21.25. So what we've solved for is the hypotenuse. What we've solved for is the hypotenuse. And this is sort of some basic algebra. Whenever you guys have no plussing and minusing in the equation, all you have to do is divide out coefficients. Does that make sense? There's no plussing and minusing in here. So it's all timesing and dividing. So like right here where it says 2bs, how did I get rid of that 2? By dividing by 2. See, this is 2 times bs. Well, what's the opposite of times by 2? Divide by 2. And then right here where I put 16 next to the s, it's like 16 times s. Well, how do I get rid of that? Do the opposite of times 16, which is divide 16. All right. And then it says, well, what is the height of the pyramid? Well, what we solved for is the slant. So how do I solve for this height? I have to use the Pythagorean theorem. So again, same idea. C is 21.25. And let's solve for the height. Call it h. And we'll use for b, we'll use, what's this distance here? How are you so good at this? It's half of 16. Half of 16, right? All right, so let's figure these out. Square them, you get 451.5625. This is 64. Now remember I talked about algebra on the last page? Well, see how this one has plussing and minusing in it? So what's the opposite of plus? Minus. So that's why we minus here. We don't divide out 64, we minus 64. And like guys, if you ever want to go to NATE or something like this, you absolutely have to know these basic algebra facts. Okay, I've looked at the books for NATE. Like, you want to be an electrician? There's like a stack. Like these are your modules, like this thick. You want to be an electrician, right? And like I had buddies in high school that they weren't rocket scientists. They got a bit older though in life. They wanted to have something more real for a career, and they chose trades, and they have to know some basic maths. Okay? So that's why you're here, doing this now. And to solve for this, we have to square root both sides. 19.6866. And that'll be in centimeters, that height. So that's the final answer. Now that is a very challenging question, and it's not going to be on the test. It's too hard. Okay, but it might show up in your homework. Typically the homework should be harder than the test, in my opinion. Do the homework, it's hard. Prepare yourself. Get to the test. It's a little bit easier. Jada, you're going to have to put that phone on my desk. Yep. Remember I gave you a warning? There's a little basket with the iPad in it. It can be the iPad's buddy. Khalif loves that iPad. It never leaves his side. Oh, Brad, look at this. The cone. The cone is basically the pyramid with a circle instead of a square. Make sense? How many of you guys like snow cone? Drumstick? Yeah, I like the drumstick. With like the chocolate on the inside.
Which of these is shaped like a cone and what snow cone has long?
Alright. Okay, check your formula sheet. Do you guys have this formula? For the cone? Yeah, same idea. Okay. Do you guys recognize this part of the formula here? What is that? Pi r square. Pi r square You're like, pies are round, Mr. Lineweber. You guys don't like my jokes, eh? Pies are circle. Okay, so what did I just color in there? What shape? This is the formula for a circle. Okay, so pi r square. No, Mr. Lineweber, pi r circles. Ah. So there's the circle. I try to make it stupid so you guys remember. Now, remember the soup can has the label around it? Well, this is sort of the idea here for the pi rs. This is the, they call it the lateral area. It's basically the area on the side, or the curved area. Oh, Josh, now you gotta put that on my desk. Okay, one warning. There's your first warning. Only because Jada got a warning, you get a warning. Alright. So, you guys know what the S stands for? Slant. Cool? Alright, let's move on. Let's do some of these. Alright. Find the surface area of a cone that has a slant height of 82 and a radius 28. So all you gotta do, start it, hey guys, start it like you're gonna do a triangle. Start it like you're gonna make a triangle, and then all you gotta do is do like a curved bottom. Alright. Okay. The radius is 28. And the slant height is 82. Find the surface area. Surface area. Guys, which one of you is going to give Jaden the notes? Or is he going to watch the video probably on his own time? Yes. I'm going to make Jaden famous. With like my 2 views. Off 2 views? In the 10C there's like 7 or 8 views per video. With you guys it's like 2 views. Sometimes 0. Nathan, I hooked Nathan up, okay? Nathan missed the class, he watched the video. See? If only one student uses it, it's worth it in my books.
How long did it take to upload?
Takes like a minute to upload. Alright. So the nice thing about this calculation, especially some of you guys that are kind of lazy and stuff, you type that into a nice calculator like the one I give you, you don't have to do any work, it's perfect. Okay, it'll do it perfectly. Okay. Did you just do it, Noelle? What is it? 9676.10. And the unit, you guys? 105? Square centimeter. Okay? It's not going to break you emotionally to put the units on, okay? And it'll save you some marks. It'll save you 1 mark. If you screw up the units once on the test, I'm going to dock a mark. Okay? However, if you do the practice test the day before the exam, you get a bonus mark. So everybody who showed up the day before the exam and wrote the practice test got a free mark, a bonus mark. So in fact, one guy got over 100% for the test. Because he got 100% on the test plus the bonus. He's not a gypsy. He's not a gypsy. He is a magician, actually. If you want to know what your mark is, all you have to do is come and see me at my desk. I don't have it posted because a lot of people haven't marked it yet, so I haven't quite got her done. Next one. Find the surface area of a cone. So draw the cone. This time they give you diameter. What the heck is a diameter? Nice, Mustafa. Divided by 2, get the radius. So divide that by 2, you get 6.8. Thank you, Noelle. 6.8 goes there. And it tells you the slant height is 9.8. So exact same as above. Pi 6.8 squared plus pi 6.8, 9.8. Easy enough, right? Those are like free marks. And there'll be one like that in the multiple choice. Just type into the formula. Kareem, does that need to go on my desk? Okay, well, don't let it happen again. Yeah, I do want the answer. Sorry? 622? Sure. Square centimeter. Kareem, are you going to be able to use that on your calculator? You know how to use it? You borrow a calculator from me? You can find the power buttons. You guys know where their X squared button is and stuff like that? Tomorrow. All right. What's next on the agenda? Sir? Oh, it's because you don't use the pi button. So it's similar, right? If you want to use the pi button, second this button, second that button. All right. Okay, let's take a look at this question, example 6. So, in order to find the surface area of a cone, you need the slant. But look what they did here. Did they give you the slant? What did they give you? The height. So how to find the slant? S squared would be h squared plus r squared. Is that okay for people? Josh? H and R represent the short sides. H is 12.8 and R is half the diameter, so oh my gosh, 9.6 divided by 2 is 4.8. Thank you. Square both of those and square root it, and what do you get? You guys know where the square root button is on their calculator and all that? Okay, I got like 13.67 for the slant. Now when I go to do the calculation for the surface area, I make sure to use the slant height and not the actual height. And like Mustafa showed me, his answers look a little bit different because he wasn't using the pi button. So guys, when you're doing your multiple choice, and if you don't use the pi button, you're going to get answers that are close but not right on. So you're going to be like, okay, what the heck, right? So make sure you use the pi button. Is that clear? Kendall, what did I just say? Attaboy. Abdurazak, what did I just say? What did I just say? Oh, was your face into the screen? Were you looking at your screen? Come on, man, put that thing away. You don't need that right now. Attaboy. What are you going to use on the calculator? Pi button. Thank you. Moving on. Did I get the right answer at least? 278.5. Did I get that? Oh yeah. Alright, so how about you guys try 15 for me right now? And let's go 15 to 17. You guys do that for me. Okay, 15 to 17. 3 questions, and then we'll go over them. Okay, let's do 15 together. 1 sec. Yeah. Okay, you got that, John? You do, right? Where you put this? Radius 16 goes like that, right? Did you get that? And height 20. That's like this. Did you get that? Okay, so you need to solve for the slant. Call it S. You have to use the Pythagorean theorem because the inside here is a right angle, okay? So S squared would be 16 squared is 256 and 20 squared is 400. Add those together, 656, and then square root that bad boy. Is it 25 point something?
25.612.
Thanks. Now once you have the slant, you can pump it into the surface area formula, which is pi r squared plus pi rs. Okay, I'll let you take it from there, okay? Say please next time. Yeah, I think you do too. Plus you took it less. Okay, I'm going to put up the answers to 16 and 17 as well. So this one's got radius 45.7 and height 39.7. So this is an identical question. Okay, so I'm not going to bother doing it. Do Pythagorean theorem, get the slant, pump it into the formula. Okay, yep. Guys, for number 17, if you highlight this right here, it means just the area, not including the base. Okay? Lateral area means omit the base. And for the cone, what's the base? The circle. So in the formula pi r squared plus pi rs, you would just omit the pi r squared and just solve the pi rs. Okay? You would have to adjust the diameter, make the diameter 14 radius. They give you the heights 32, so you would have to solve for s using Pythagorean theorem. So you'd have a height 32 and radius 14. You'd have to solve for the slant using Pythagoras. Once you get the slant, put it right there, and you're good to go. All right. What do you guys think? Should we finish off this section?
No, we should just stop.
I think we should finish it off. Okay, the next thing is the sphere, which you guys would probably just call a ball. Everybody knows what balls are. You use them in sports all the time, right? So here I have tennis ball. Everybody knows what this is? Tennis ball? So the tennis ball, like any other sphere, it's similar to a circle. Why is it similar to a circle? It has, what makes this thing different than other balls? Like, what's the difference between this and a basketball, other than like what it's made of?
The small circumference.
The circumference, sure. But what makes it different? The size. How do you determine the size of a sphere? What's the determining factor? Starts with an R. Oh. Almost knocked the coffee over. Oh. Okay. So, what's the determining factor of the sphere? Just like the circle? Radius. Josh, relax, man. I'm just talking about balls and you're going crazy. Gosh. So immature. Like, I'm not teaching junior high here. I'm teaching high school. Okay. So let's take a look at this problem here. It says that a ball has a surface area of approximately 9,900 square centimeters. What's the radius? This kind of question will be on the test in the multiple choice. You can perform this algebra, guys, or you can be test savvy. What does that mean? Better, smarter than the test. You could try all the A, B, C's, and D's into this formula. You could try them and see if it gets close to the answer, okay? Or you could follow this algebra. So, see how they gave you the 9900? That goes in for SA. And then how do you solve for R? Is there any plussing and minusing going on? So what do? Divide. So that's why they divide out the 4 pi, and then they square root at the end. Okay? In your calculator, can I please show you so the calculator doesn't lie to you? When you divide the 4 pi, you have to put it in a bracket or else it'll times it by pi, not divide it. Then once you get that answer, square root the answer, okay? That's what the calculator would look like. So don't forget about those brackets. All right. Can you just jot down this calculator portion for me, please? Use the brackets. Because like lots of times, like I taught this many a times, and the kids, no different than you guys, but they'll do this, but they forget the brackets. And it's like, oh, you do everything right, but then you don't type it in right? Like, that's brutal. So just use brackets when you divide. Can we move on? All right. So here's some questions about the surface area of a sphere. This is on your formula sheet, the surface area of a sphere. And these are like free marks, especially if they give you the radius. So all you have to do, type in what you see, and you'll be good to go. Okay? And look at 19. What's the only difference between 18 and 19? One has diameter. So just make a small adjustment. Divide by 2, and you get that the radius is 12.4, and it's the exact same formula, 12.4. Someone's going to yell out these answers, right? Please? Someone yell it out for me? First one? 20? 20 something? First one? 21.23? Thank you. And the second one? Second one, guys? Second one? Hey? 19.32? Oh, 1932.20? And that'll be millimeter square. All right, the last question on this page is hemisphere. Do you guys know what's the difference between sphere and hemisphere? Half the sphere, good. So like if you're in the northern hemisphere on planet Earth, you're in the top part, Nathan? Put that thing face down. Southern hemisphere, you're at the bottom. Eastern hemisphere, you're about like Russia, China. Western hemisphere, like North America. Okay, so that's hemisphere. It is on your formula sheet. And I'm so nice, I got surface area with base, surface area without base. Okay? So this one, Find the surface area of a hemisphere. That would be with base. With base would be 3 pi r squared. So 3 pi radius 18.5, and get the answer for that and you're good to go. Got it? What is it? And that'll be centimeters square. Okay, you guys got that answer? Okay. Some guy that used to go here. Okay, take a look at example 8. Can you guys look at this question now? I know it's the end of the block, but we're almost done. Composite figure. This word, composite figure, can you highlight it for me? What does it mean? Just a bunch, it could be anything, a bunch of shapes, compound shape, good, put together. A bunch of stuff put together. Shapes that you're familiar with, okay? So, see how it says find the surface area of this? Just like Josh said, it has to be on the surface. So when you problem solve this question, would you include this base? No, because it's not on the surface. So for the cone, you would just solve for the pi rs. And then when you do the cylinder, you have to do some pretty intense problem solving where you'd have to solve for this donut shape. Yeah, you just have to minus out that black circle. Good. And all that work can be found here. Look at that, it's a page worth of stuff. And right at the bottom, they got the formula for it. Okay, so you're more than welcome to look over this page if that's something that interests you. This is something that would be on your exam. Okay. Okay, find the surface area of the following figure. Okay, let's start on the left. What is that shape on the left? It's like a dome. What do we call it? Hemisphere. Do we include this circular base? Do we include this? No. So which, on the formula sheet, what are you looking for? Surface area without the base. And that's 2 pi r squared. So 2 pi, what's the radius there? I made too many marks. Is it half of 0.8? Is 0.8 the big distance? So 0.4 squared. So 2 pi, 0.4 squared. I got like 1.005. Okay, now let's do this shape. Do I include this circular base for this shape? No, because it's not on the surface. So what's the lateral surface area formula here? Just pi rs. So pi radius is still 0.4, and luckily s is given, so that's easy. So I'll just put omit. This one's 1.759. And now what's left to do? The lateral part of the cylinder. So that's what we did yesterday. So when you look at the surface area formula on your cylinder, what do you see? 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. What part of that do we omit? Good. You would omit the 2 pi r squared and just use the 2 pi rh. The radius is still 0.4, and the height is this 2.2 distance that goes the whole length. And then at the end, you just add it all up. Got 5.529. So let's add up all these things highlighted. I got 8.29 total. Meters square. Alright, so for the rest of this, I think we'll do 22 and 23 tomorrow. 22, 23 tomorrow. And you guys can start working on to practice your skills. Who wrote this? Hey, pals. Who wrote that? A couple of jabronis probably wrote that. Okay, thanks for listening so intently, you guys.